We're the Cross Movement. Get ready for history, y'all.
Hailing from Philadelphia, running from the late 90s to the late 2000s, known for their deep theological lyricism mixed with urban edge, these legends in Christian hip-hop have truly made history. Hey everybody, welcome to Aloe Gospel Music. This is a review of Cross Movement's final album, History, Our Place in His Story. After over a decade in the industry, 7 albums, the start of a record label, and a few solo projects, The Tonic, Fanatic, True Life, and The Ambassador decided to wrap things up with their 7th and final album, History, Our Place in His Story, in 2007.
A song like Our God, one of the jams that I did, was a must, simply because we're going to talk about history. Who's the his of history? Our God. We won't stop till every block is laced, till he's on top, because on top is his proper place. Our God. What if the God would cop from every race of people so we can show off his grace? No one but our God.
The album opens with the track Our God, led by The Ambassador, a very upbeat track that glorifies the attributes of God with a very 2000s flavor. A classic in my opinion, and definitely a great way to open.
I decided to write, I am quiet and might, I want your eye on the Christ, cause he is our God. Ain't nobody like him, that's just why we like him, plus we got a life from Jesus, our God.
The second track, Louder, with True Life emceeing, speaks of living out loud and our representation of Christ. This song has a bit of a vintage groove to it, with a hip-hop beat on top that matches the sound of 2007.
We gotta turn it up, make sure that the hearers get. We gotta live like Christ supreme and out. Show 'em why we call him king and get him to feel good.
Trust in Him, with The Ambassador and featuring Robert Don Barham on vocals, also borrows funk sounds from the days of old and infuses it into hip-hop. The message of the song is fairly self-explanatory, but it also acknowledges and uplifts the attributes of God.
On CD or MP3 in a day where they block us from MTV. Yes, minute a word in the MC we gotta speak even if we gotta MC free.
Spare Change, led by The Tonic, is a description of the state of humanity through the eyes of a man looking for things to get better. Spare change is a pun and an allegory. Spare change usually means coins, but in this case it is actually a plea for a change of behavior in the culture.
No fortune, no fame, and I'm standing in the rain, in the middle of the pain, in the middle of the lane, with a cup, with a sign reading plain, and I'm playing for spare change. I'm playing for...
Tapestry is a song led by The Fanatic, and to be honest, there isn't too much I can say about this record. Mainly because he says so much I can never remember what it's actually about. I believe it's an appeal song, urging listeners to join into the family of Christ, or his tapestry. What I can say, however, is that Fanatic is a talented lyricist, and it shows in this song.
You're running out of time like it's the bottom of the night. The Savior is risen if you're willing to stop tripping and play your position. This just happens to be a chance for you to tap into the tapestry.
910, led by The Tonic, is a description of the 9/11 terrorist attacks before and after they occurred. Even though this subject matter is sad and not my usual cup of tea, it's actually one of my favorite songs on the album. Tonic has a true talent for storytelling and painting pictures through his rhymes. I think that this is arguably the best performance of his career.
Remember 910, God couldn't save Jack. Then on 916, every church was packed. Why is that? That it takes something so scary before a nation wants to make God primary. Or maybe it's just we want protection, but not the kind of stuff that'll force life introspection.
Back for This is definitely a unique one. It's common in hip-hop, especially Christian hip-hop, to hear a song that is a story about some other person who's struggling with some sin or life issue. Well, Back for This, featuring True Life, is about a phone call with a friend, Greg, who got in a fight and accidentally shot and killed someone. True Life then encourages his friend Greg to turn himself in. That's about it. And for some reason, this song doesn't sit right with me. It's kind of sad because Greg does end up in prison. I guess I just don't see why this song was necessary. There's a line where True Life tells Greg to turn himself in because he's a Christian. And I mean, he's right. Taking someone's life should be met with a consequence. but the song also explains that the fight started to protect the victim, and Greg never intended to kill the other man. He simply came to someone else's defense. Apparently that didn't matter. I wonder if a non-believer, new believer, or young person would hear this and think that doing the right thing won't always work in their favor, and then turn away from integrity. On the other hand, I guess the song was simply a cautionary tale warning to not get caught up into street life and violence, which I can agree with. I guess it just wasn't my thing. Overall, the song in and of itself was decent.
Man, this is bad. What you gonna do? I don't know, man. That's why I'm on the phone with you. Man, I'm dipping down south. No, you not. What you mean? You're a Christian. Turn yourself in. Come clean. I could hear him trying not to cry. Praying.
Clap Your Hands features the Ambassador and JR. It's a song that encourages the listener to clap their hands in gratitude and praise to Jesus. Because of the beat and the hook alone, this may be my least favorite track on the album. The verses themselves are decent, however.
I could dry your eye drops go by like a wiper. Lifer, death to speak life, not to hype ya. I spit just to lift Jesus Christ up. You need to know this. Life cycles like a biker. We all need protection from our own mess like a diaper.
Name Up is led by all 4 members and guest features Tadashi of Reach Records. In simplest form, this song is about lifting up the name of Jesus. This song is also very 2007. It reminded me of some of Lecrae's earlier work. Another thing I'd like to point out is that even though Tadashi is on the chorus, it really sounds nothing like him. He did something to alter and deepen his voice, and Fnatic did the same thing. It was weird, but I guess it was the trend at the time.
So he could redeem us and take us, so lift his name up, lift his name up, lift his name up, lift his name up. He's the peace stiller, grace and mercy giver.
Get That, led by The Tonic, in my opinion, is the certified classic of the album. I remember this song being stuck in my head in high school. Get That, I suppose, is Cross Movement's answer to club or dance music. Walk It Out and Crank That were also released that year, and in a way, that's what the song addresses. It's about dancing and praising God without doing anything too wild or provocative, as they chant, get that, get it on the floor.
You were a slave, and now you saved, and not ashamed. Get it on the floor. Because of grace, you seek his face, so give him praise. Get it on the floor.
Do it back in the day with Who's the Man? So I got a jam called Now Who's the Man?
Quick to let that click clack kick back hard, breaking these cats off like they was Kit Kat bars. But I don't think your gat can spit that far to hit the god who sits back in his big backyard.
Now Who's the Man featuring Fnatic is a song that gives God his props and speaks of how great he really is. The real significance of this track is that it is part 2 of Who's the Man that Fnatic performed on Cross Movement's first album, Heaven's Mentality, 10 years prior. I really like the full circle moment.
Quick to let that click clack kick back hard, breaking these cats off like they was Kit Kat bars. But I don't think your gat can spit that far to hit the god who sits back in his big backyard. His doormat is where them big fat stars shine in the night sky. His crib is that large. When he flexes the car.
Clarity by True Life is also a bit on the darker side, but overall it has a decent sound. The song is basically about changing our perspectives and seeing things the way God does. It briefly tells the story of 2 individuals who are likely to be judged, but suggests that there is more to their story than meets the eye.
Her person's internal workings is what shapes the outer frame. How they maintain immersive abstain from things that bring pain, whether it goes or remains. These are the places that I can't show, so I tailor the flow to let you know that you gotta go to Christ who was light. Cause you've never seen life, at least real life, unless you've seen Christ.
You need a brand new pair.
Big Things features all 4 members of the Cross Movement, although Fnatic doesn't actually rap. In essence, this speaks about how our small accomplishments become large and impactful when put in God's hands. God uses us and our story and journey to carry out his will. This track uses samples from the song To Be Free to Be Who We Are, sung by Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. I I really like this sample and think it paired well with the beat and helped with the emotion of the song. This may be one of my favorite songs on the album right now, and definitely my favorite of the songs I didn't know already.
Though it's hard like a riddle, and I know it looks little, but it's some don't see the purpose, so they say it ain't worth it, but it's yeah. We take the good with the pain, and we'll never be ashamed, cause we know it's who God made us to be. Who God made us to be.
The last cipher is pretty self-explanatory. It's the last cipher. It's actually a callback to all of Cross Movement's previous albums that all ended in ciphers. So here's another full circle moment for the album. This song also uses a sample that I love, Am I Black Enough For You, about 70s music mixed with hip-hop. This song features all 4 members in addition to Trip Lee, The Truth, R. Swift, Mac the Doulos, Israel, and Flame. I like how for the last song of the album, they decided to feature some young and or up-and-coming artists. It was a symbol of the passing of the baton as Cross Movement was stepping down. Whenever I buy an album, especially one that's already available for streaming, the most important component of the album for me is really the sleeve. I like to know all the background information if I can. I want to know who wrote it, who produced it, what was sampled, who played a certain instrument, and if possible, all the lyrics to the songs. Because this is so important to me, I wanted to include it in the review. Before I listened to the whole album, I was starting to question whether or not it was a good purchase. The sleeve definitely made it worth it. One disappointing factor was that it did not include lyrics, but I did really like that it had the full timeline of their career with pictures from the beginning to the end. It was a very nice touch. It's probably the best sleeve I've seen and a great idea for a final album. By the way, I also noticed on the timeline of the front cover that all of their albums have started with the letter H. Heaven's Mentality, House of Representatives, Human Emergency, Holy Culture, Higher Definition, and History. I'm not sure if this was intentional or not, although it probably was. It's still a pretty cool find. In conclusion, this was a pretty decent album, and I don't feel as if I wasted my money. I've always wanted to do reviews like this and be a gospel music collector and historian, so honestly, I'll probably never completely feel as if I wasted my money. Overall, I'd give this album an 8.5 out of 10. I didn't love every song on the album, but I did love the sleeve and consider this album a classic. There's a certain nostalgia that comes with this album for me. This is Cross Movement's last album. It was the end of the era, and I'm sure they and their fans were somewhat emotional about the finality of this production. Many people say that the end of one thing is just the beginning of another. That rings true when I think of this album. History was the end of Cross Movement, but it was my introduction to it. Spare Change was the first Cross Movement song I ever heard, and even though it isn't my favorite song, it was an intro to my favorite rap group to this day. If I never heard Spare Change on Pandora, I might not have looked up Cross Movement on my mom's tablet and fallen in love with the House of Representatives, and I might not be making this video today. So all in all, this album will always have a very special place in my heart. There are a few songs that I didn't mention because I didn't have a whole lot to write about them. I Love You, What You Say, and We Were They, but that doesn't mean these songs aren't worth listening to. This album is available on all major streaming services, and you should definitely go check it out. If you like this video and similar types of content, I would really appreciate it if you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget the bell. Y'all have a good one.